The Jollof debate is not something that Nigeria should keep on talking about because I and my a lot of others we've experienced Nigeria so much that we are authorities when it comes to the Jollof debate. Wherever you go, those skills will follow you forever. So the debates, I mean, environment was comfortable for me, and that's why you still see people doing well in life, like after instrumentalizing the debate space because of the kind of skills they picked up and how they were able to put them to use. And we will keep on seeing more and more of that.
All right. So for the very first time, we are doing something very, very different here on the shaft. Um, so, B and I, welcome back once again. There's one thing I wanted to ask you. Um, how was the debate space for you, especially as an individual in terms of interacting with different people within the space, interacting with different personalities within the space? How was this experience for you? What were some of the major characters that stood out?
Yeah, so post credits. But generally, the debate space was very accommodating for me. I enjoyed, the kind of spaces I was in, my guys, and all that. Um, I just also felt that there were, especially the ladies, like we had phenomenal female debaters during our times. We had like great ladies like Toby, Aurelia, Jessica, Ellie Plame, wonderful, wonderful like debaters who, were doing so much for the space. I felt the work that they were doing was very important. And anytime I look at Seven for Girls, that's what I wanted us to get across. Like, these ladies were mentors and role models that, a lot of females coming into the space could look up to. And that's very important because our society and all over the world, no matter how advanced the society is, there is still some disparity between how like men and women can access real spaces. And debate is one of such spaces. And so I am really out by some of the women we saw in our time. And it's no surprise that they are doing great things out there today. There are also some women who were not just, like they were great debaters, but they were also focused on the advocacy bit, creating a wonderful women's council. I think Queen Obianuju was wonderful, especially in that space. And that's why you see somebody like that excelling and putting herself out there with NSAS and a lot of other advocacies just to make people better. It's because of the kind of experiences she had from debate and the kind of training that she had. And wherever you go, those skills will follow you forever. So the debates, I mean, environment was comfortable for me, but I also appreciate those who made it very comfortable for others, especially the women in
Yeah,
debates.
so I mean, this is the first time we're doing something of this nature, and we decided to call it like post credit to just look at the various influences for you. But I think it's something that's less talked about. People want to come into the space and then debate and then go away, but there's not a lot of discussion as to the facilitators within the space. Um, apart from the medieval queen, and I would really like for you to highlight more the things that they did, and things like Women's Forum, which was created, which at the time was very very powerful in being able to drive the conversation. What more examples of these existed within your time, and how do we ensure that we grow more of these facilitators within the debate space?
I mean, when we think of the sports, we usually think in terms of judges, speakers, and that's it. But there are so many people who made tournaments what they are. That there are some people who never said a word in a room of debate, but the organizational skills made the space worth it for us. And if you look at people like Eddie Kojo Seche, all those guys, like they put in the work to ensure that we had a very comfortable debating space. Our tournaments were running very well, and we really benefited from all those people and the kind of work that they did. And I say, and that's why you still see people doing well in life, like after instrumentalizing the debate space because of the kind of skills they picked up and how they were able to put them to use. And we will keep on seeing more and more of that. And a debate space is something that everybody should be willing to join in even these things because it's not just about being a great speaker, it's not just about being a judge, but it's also about these skills
Yeah,
you pick
and
up.
I think that's very true. I think debate used to be that kind of a space, right, where we had like people come in and like they can code. People come in and they like business. People come in and they have different interests, and people who just like the parties. And then they just
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen
yeah,
some great
yeah.
passes too.
We want to talk about that, but like, yeah, we created a portfolio of different characters who, and I think it made the debate space enjoyable. It made it nice. You didn't feel you were there to just debate. You just felt you were in a very, very good social space. But back to another thing, um, it was there that you and I mean, like when people think about you, they apart from the moments within the debate room, they mention the moments at, at socials and some very memorable moments. So what were some of your more memorable socials, and if you could share some stories from right.
I probably have no
That's
stories to
okay.
share, but I I I I have a story from Calabar. So we one time we were in Calabar for a tournament and we went out in the night for to a club, for and of course we are in a different place and I mean people I saw people have
You
fun,
were just
I saw
innocent.
people have fun. I myself I danced quite a lot. So we close, we go and then 2 days later, I'm reading, some online news in Nigeria, and they found skulls like at the club. They had dug some skulls at the club that the club owner had apparently used for rituals to attract more visitors so that they can also have fun. It was one of the funniest, moments of like how were you there 2 days prior, I mean, but it's a testament to the kind of
Yeah,
experiences we had in the space out there. Like we could situate ourselves in historic moments just by being
yeah,
in certain places, and that's one such thing. But like I've been to some nice
yeah,
places in Port Harcourt, like everywhere we've been. I mean, when we were in Thailand, you and I, like we
yeah,
visited multiple places to
yeah.
explore the
Explore,
city and
explore.
get to understand Kelly Smith. Yeah, explore. So we 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 exposed to different cultures, and got to see different people for who they
Yeah,
are.
I think
So yeah, it's
one of the
it's
things that like I enjoyed whilst traveling with you was like your open-mindedness about people's culture, willingness to have conversations with different people. Like we meet random people and then you start holding discussions with them, discussing their politics, stuff like that. And also the food. So one other, I always say that like
yeah.
Vienna is always like anytime we want to go and get KFC, McDonald's, it's like nah, this is your time. You need to enjoy the food in this place. And I was like, I used to hate it so much because like sometimes I just can't eat the food, but he's then he's eating like uh, plantain or cooked banana with some soup and really nice. I'll, I'll probably have to ask you though, which one is the worst? Because I remember when there was the Jollof debate, you were mentioning Oka Jollof and a couple of
I was later compromised in discussing issues of Namdi Azikiwe's university, so I'll probably not talk about Oka Jollof. But yes, the Jollof debate is not something that Nigeria should keep on talking about because I and a lot of others we've experienced Nigeria so much that we are authorities when it comes to the Jollof debate. More importantly, we've converted more Nigerians to
Yeah.
Ghana Jollof than, I've actually never heard any Ghanaian say, wow, I ate Nigerian Jollof and I'm never going back to Ghana Jollof. Like, it's, and I've had every form of Nigerian Jollof that has been bragged about. Party Jollof, or maybe I call it Jollof. It's better to call it
Yeah.
Jollof, not Jollof. Party Jollof. They'll tell you there's a Calabar Jollof. Daddy's Kitchen
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
actually decent Nigerian Jollof. It's not decent Jollof, but it's decent Nigerian Jollof. Item 11 or so, item 7, I think that's in Ilorin, Kwara State. So I've had Jollof in various places in Nigeria. Nigeria should stop talking about Jollof. But what Nigeria should focus on exporting, they should focus on exporting eba
Oh yeah.
and egusi soup, which is the best thing ever known to man. That's the food that Nigeria should be exporting. Nigeria should be exporting
Yes.
ufada rice, ufada
Wow.
rice, village rice, asum,
Yes.
like if Telfa also likes the periwinkles that can be put in egusi soup. So there are wonderful meals, and it speaks to the diversity of Nigeria that somebody is living in Lagos and has never had white soup, but you can go to Calabar and then find white soup. Do you get? In Ghana, the likelihood that somebody up north has eaten something somebody down south has eaten
Yeah.
is very common. By Nigeria, because of the diversity, you can find different things everywhere you go that is peculiar to certain people. And I think we have that experience in East Africa, like Thailand, a lot of places.
Mm.
People are their food, people are their men and women, people
Mm.
are their jobs. And so when you go to all these places, you should make an effort to interact. And one thing I always say in a foreign land too is the easiest
Yeah.
place to feel free. I don't know whether you remember, but there was this time in Calabar when we had money on a card, but we
Yes.
didn't have cash because none of the ATMs, had cash. It was Christmas, fuel scarcity, like various places. I was just start. I went to Shoprite. I stood in a queue, and anyone who was buying something, as any random stranger, I just paid with my card and took cash. I didn't know them, but you're in a foreign land. This is the time to feel free, take risks, and so all those places where you need help, you can always ask for it. And it speaks to how we think we are different as Africans, but there's a lot more we have in common than we differ in. And all those experiences taught us so much. And that's why we should do more to make our systems and our
Yeah,
places better.
that's really true. I think when you mentioned the food aspect, there was this woman's place, Shola, that we used to wake up and yeah,
Yeah, Calabar.
yeah, the Shola's place that we used to wake up and go and eat in the mornings. And it's very true. I think a lot of the confidence that I found like going into the spaces and just being able to interact with them. And these days it's shocking. Like when you go to every country, you can almost find someone you knew, and most likely they were a debater, as a result of the connections that we had made. All right, just to start capping off. By the way, a lot of people are very interested in how much debate is playing out in the rest of your life right now. You still have opportunities to use that critical thinking skills, and this part should serve as motivation for people who are looking to come into the debate, who are looking to do very, very different things. How is this still influencing what you do?
Firstly, any opportunity to network is very good, and so in its most basic form, debate helped us network so much. Like 60% of my closest friends were in debates, and all over the world there are friends that we met through debates that we are able to interact with today, because of that. And so that's the first takeaway. But it's also the quality of skill sets available within that network. Of course, everybody can make friends wherever they go, but do your friends or the network we are discussing, does it possess the skill sets that you need to accomplish high targets? And that's one thing we have in debates that is very rare in a lot of spaces. And it makes us use that network very well. So the kind of skill set that is available is very important. And thirdly, I also think that there are a lot of debate helped us form a lot of opinions as we were growing up. And also because usually you were forced to defend positions that you would otherwise not interact with. All right, you would probably not have explored those positions on your own. What that means is there is a big likelihood that debaters are going to become more compassionate persons. They are going to become they are going to be more interested in building a fairer society because they have been forced to interact with thoughts that others would not have been willing to interact with. We have been trained to just consider other people and their like worldview, their perspectives, because it's all about perspectives. That's what the sport is about. And so when you put all these three things together, you are going to produce a more valuable citizen to society. A lot of times people think that when we talk about debate, we are interested in producing leaders as in presidents, ministers. No. If we have more valuable citizens, all the other things will fall in line because then the citizens will be more critical, the citizens would interrogate more, the citizens would even expect better from whatever systems that is in place. And these citizens will work in public services, these citizens will work in private sector companies that should be more compassionate to worker needs, and these citizens will be interested in helping bridge the gender pay gap, all other issues that matter in society. If you have a critical mass of more valuable citizens through debate, we are going to get a lot more. And that's why we hope that wherever you all go, you pay it forward, you train more people, you help people spread the message, you get them more involved, and you all
Yeah,
become
that, I
better
think
for it.
that's a very, very, very cool and insightful perspective. Because like, yeah, all not all of us can become leaders, but even if the quality of followership within this nation begins to increase, then the quality of leadership, it affects the quality of leadership in that regard. I think that's really, really instrumental. Well, lastly, before you go, I was wondering if you had some special shout outs to give to people that you wanted to mention, and who do you hope that we talk to next on the podcast?
My non-debating friends who will be watching this, or people who are outside debate, obviously we appreciate that you would be following this interview. We I met great people in debate, like I always say. My friends in Conglo, my OPEC friends, you know, like the people I trained, they are like my most prized, assets, like the people I trained, whether, it was as leader of the team or in personally mentoring them, even those in other institutions, some of the new generation kids, Cleo, Ferguson, all those people, like the people Isaac Gia, Ralph, Prosper, all those people I interacted with. I mean, they are people that I'm proud of the persons that they've become. The other bit also is I just want to see more people interact with the platform. And so probably you would consider, you should look at, one of the pioneer women in debates and see how you
Yeah,
can speak to them. And I think that will open up a lot of access to, encourage more of them to come out to speak on the platform. I'm sure as of the guys, you've had contact with a lot of them and you are lining up interviews, but you should look at putting one of the women on the platform and it goes from there. And definitely you would one day speak to Eric and you
yeah.
get the
But
full
once the networking, yeah, improves, we'll definitely really speak to Eric. But yeah, it was really, really lovely catching up with you. I know that this is sort of like the extra credits which rules, and I always say that if we live and we'll always have these conversations, we'll go back and we'll forget to say some things. Obviously, there are still some stories over there, but I don't think we've ever ruled out having like a second recording per the viewers' demands. And we also look forward to bringing in more people on board. So thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you very much. And to everybody, thank you for your
All
listenership.
right, awesome.